Hi, today we're speaking to Ruth from Stirling. Hi, Ruth, how are you today?
I'm all right, thank you.
That's good. Would you like to share your stroke story with us?
Yes, I will. So originally I had the stroke when I was 30, and I'll tell you about it soon. But yeah, like before that, I was like really sort of positive. It makes it sound like I'm not positive now. I was really sort of, you know, yeah.
Everything was going okay for you.
Yes, it was going fine, and it was gonna go even better, because I had spent 6 years working for BBC Scotland in Glasgow, quite happily, not not totally happily, but 95%. And I'd spent the 6th year of that going around Australia for a year.
Wow.
Yeah, going around Australia for a year, which was amazing fun.
I bet it was.
Yeah. Yeah, and I came back. I did 4 more months of the BBC, and then I was about to go to Cornwall to start a new job. But before I was sort of due to go to Cornwall, about a couple of weeks before, I was very, very stressed, and I didn't know why. I thought it was my job, and that my job might have been part of it, but I just felt really unhappy, and it was very strange because I just felt so happy and so alive in Australia, and it wasn't sort of, oh, she's come back and she's like dipped down or anything. I'd gone down so much more than that. I was just like, I was feeling very, very sad for some reason. And yeah. So I sort of sent them an email saying, I'm sorry, I can't accept this job anymore. Even though I've been sort of had it for a month, they were sort of waiting for me to like finish at the BBC and come down. I was like, I'm sorry, I can't come anymore. And then had my last week, well, at the BBC, and then I sent my sort of goodbye cake. I sent it in because I couldn't go in anymore because I was so stressed out about the building and everything. So I had to send it via my parents. So it was all quite sad.
Yeah,
I didn't really know what the problem was, but I couldn't do anything much.
Yeah. Couldn't put your finger on it.
Yeah, I couldn't put my finger on it. But yeah, it was the next week after I sort of sent the goodbye cake to the BBC staff that I woke up and there was no pain or anything. And I tried to lift my head, as you do, but it felt sort of, half of it felt odd. I don't know why, but I was just like, oh, okay, I'll just lie here for a while then. So I lay there just sort of thinking about the day, and I was at my parents' house by this time. I should have said that. I just lay there for an hour and a half just thinking about the day and things. And then I thought, right, now I have to properly get up. So I tried again and my head still felt odd. So I was like, this is going to happen. So I lifted myself up to sitting, and that's when I noticed my sort of arm was like completely dead, like completely numb. I was like, whoa, I have to tell this to my parents. But I didn't realise I'd had a stroke or anything. So I tried to stand up, but I couldn't do that either. Instead of standing up, I like crashed down on the floor. And I had to drag myself to the door just there. But I didn't know that my leg was dead as well. I was just like, oh, I can't walk, whatever.
Yeah.
And I tried to open the door with my hand that still worked, but I couldn't reach the sort of doorknob thing. So I tried to call out to sort of mum or dad. And that's when I noticed as well, my sort of speech was completely gobbledygook. I mean, I could still think in my head, all the sort of language was there normally, but it just came out as complete garble. So dad like opened the door and he saw me on the floor, and my dad just thought I'd had a bad dream.
Oh, bless him.
Even though I was 30 at the time, not 3 years old. It's like, oh, you've had a bad dream, it will be okay. And I tried to tell him that it wasn't a bad dream, that something else was the matter, but I didn't tell him anything. But luckily my mum she just got in home because she's gone early morning swimming. So she came in and saw me, and like nearly straight away she knew that there was something badly wrong. So she dialed 999, and an ambulance came within 5 minutes, because the ambulances are just like a couple of places down the road. And yeah, that's when they took me off to hospital. This was 5 years ago, by the way, when I was 30, and now I'm 35 and everything. So yeah, that was my when I discovered I'd had my first stroke. And I got taken to Falkirk, like Larbert Hospital, and there they like told me to go to like Edinburgh Western Hospital. I can't remember what it was called, but they got me back in the ambulance and took me to Western Hospital, and there they did all the sort of medical procedures. I mean, back then they did the sort of I don't know, when you've got a clot in your head and they can like just yank it out sort of thing. They did that, and the weird thing was that like it was on a big screen, so I could watch this sort of going into my brain and like taking hold of the clot and pulling it out.
Oh, that's scary.
It was, yeah. And then it wasn't scary, and I wasn't scared of all this, because the thing is, I've always had like medical problems, and you know, I've been in hospital a lot of times, and I've got a sort of heart defect and stuff, which just needed 2 operations, and I've had colitis and things as well.
Oh,
so, yeah, going into the hospital was perfectly ordinary. So yeah, I wasn't scared at all. I was just like, oh, this is interesting.
That's one way of describing it.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't a huge big deal for me.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't a huge big deal yet, because I didn't realise like how much it would affect me. And then I don't know like how it happened, but I sort of gradually got better, and you know, the second day I like got rid of the sort of walking frame that I had. I could walk again, and you know, I could start speaking again a few words, and mum and dad and my sisters would come in, and they came in with this board game, and the board game was called something like sort of dinner time or something. You're supposed to like choose some like foodstuffs based on cards. So like one card has a picture of an apple and one card has a picture of like raspberries and stuff, and you have to like say what they are. You know, it's a game for like
Yeah.
And they tried to like ask me like, what food is this? What food is this? And I just couldn't answer. I just didn't know, because that part of my brain had just, it had been got. I've got a bit of aphasia as well, which you may know. But yeah, I found it difficult to answer this. I was like, I didn't know. I didn't say anything. Or like, I was very, for some reason I could say stroganoff. Right?
Oh, the words. That's quite a hard one.
I know. Well, I couldn't say peas or carrots or anything, but I could say stroganoff, even though I'm not even sure what stroganoff is. You know, that word I could say. But yeah, like the days went on, and I was taken to physiotherapy and got a lot better with physiotherapy and stuff. And then I was sent home after a couple of weeks, and sent home with some more physiotherapy would occur at home and so on. And so it sounds like that's just the end, but really that was kind of just the beginning, because 2 weeks after my stroke, so about the time I went home, I was okay for about a week, and then something had sort of obviously happened in my brain. It was probably sort of from having the tweezers shoved up my brain or something. I have no idea what it really was, but I started to feel suicidal. And most of the time I really don't. I'm quite a cheerful, happy person in general throughout life. But I started to feel suicidal, like suddenly. And I thought, well, okay, I can just resist it. So basically I just resisted it for about 4 weeks, over which time it got stronger and stronger. So I felt it harder to resist. I will not give up. But like, you can't do that forever, because you know the tipping point is going to happen. And the tipping point came for me, it was about sort of the end of September or something. I couldn't sleep, so I got up at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I went out round to like the sort of railway station. It's not a station, just a railway thing, and went up the sort of footpath beside it. And the reason I did that was so that I wouldn't be too close to the houses. And then I just screamed and screamed, and I just screamed bloody murder basically for like half an hour, which helped me a little, but like just a tiny amount. And I thought, right, I need to phone someone. So I didn't have my phone with me or anything. I just sort of ran out. So I got home again, got my phone and figured out who I had to ring, and that was 111. So I rang 111 and I said, like, I desperately need help. I'm like, so I was so happy like 6 weeks ago, and now I'm so depressed. So like, I feel like I'm gonna take my own life within like a couple of days if you don't help me like now. And I've had a stroke and things like that, even though like my stroke for some reason had nothing, I thought it had nothing to do with how I was feeling, but it had everything to do with how I was feeling. So yeah, she told me to like, I'll speak to a sort of psychologist or something, who I which was at 4 o'clock in the morning. It was on the phone, just a phone bloke who was still awake. And he talked to me for like an hour, and he said, yeah, you need to go back to Loughborough Hospital. And so I went back to Loughborough Hospital, but this time I was in the sort of the mental health unit, and I got like put in like a room and stuff. And they had to figure out what to do with me. So yeah, after a few days, they decided I needed antidepressants, so they put me on them, and it made a difference. I mean, I didn't feel like, oh, I feel fine now, but I didn't want to kill myself. So that's basically the reason. So they made me a lot better. I mean, you know, I still felt like very, very sad, but I didn't want to kill myself. But yeah. Then, oh yes, then I decided, I've been in hospital about 1.5 weeks in the mental health unit, and they could let you go outside into the hospital grounds if they sort of trusted you. So they let me out into the hospital grounds so I could have a walk around and walk in the woods and stuff, which was a lot nicer. So I remember running round a couple of laps of the hospital, and I got back and I got into my room, and then I had another stroke, and I was like, it was a stroke it was the same place, the same thing happened, like the same arm went completely dead. I lost my speech again, which I got back a lot of, and my leg, it wasn't completely dead this time, so I could still walk, but you know, I walked with a heavy limp. So I went up to the reception in the mental health unit, and I said, I told them, I sort of signed to them, I've had a stroke, I think. And they like didn't know what to do for like a minute, but then they knew what to do, and like, you know, put me in a wheelchair and took me back up to the stroke unit. Where I had to spend another 2 weeks. So that was all the sort of drama. But yeah, for the second one, they the first one I was like saved with the sort of, I don't know what's it called, thalamus or thrombectomy or something.
Yes. That's it.
That's when they pull the clot out of your head.
Yes.
But this time they couldn't give me that, so they just gave me the I don't know, anticoagulant or something.
Yeah.
Which I have anyway, but for some reason it didn't work. But yeah, yeah, what happened was that reason I had the strokes was because I was very stressed out, and when I'm very stressed out for weeks and weeks, when I have chronic stress, that it sets off the colitis, and the colitis would be like fine on its own, but the colitis means that everything passes straight through my body, including my anticoagulants that I take for my heart defect.
Oh, of course, yes.
So because they were going through, nothing was being absorbed, like no anticoagulant was being absorbed into my body. So that's why I had the strokes, both of them. So eventually they figured all that out. So they gave me Clexane, which are in anticoagulant injections, which I took for like a year. But that's why I had the stroke.
Oh,
yeah, it kind of sucks. But yeah, obviously what I was going to say was they weren't doing a thrombectomy on me, so they just did anticoagulant and sort of dissolved the clot, which is fine, but it also means that I have more disabilities now, or like than I otherwise would. Like I have a sort of, I don't know, dodgy foot. It's called a real name. It's either a drop foot or spasticity. I'm not sure which, and neither does anyone else. But yeah, it's something of that nature. But it gets really sore if I walk on it for more than a couple of hours, and it can be very sore if I walk on it just for a little bit. So I use walking poles instead if I'm going out for a walk. I can't drive anymore, which I used to do, because I tried to drive again after the stroke, failed, did lots of lessons for like 6 months or something.
Yeah.
Did the test again, failed again. And it's something to do with I can't quite, I don't know, just because I'm not able to see everything, or I can't think of everything which you're meant to think of when you're driving, and I can't think of everything all at once. I can think of enough, like I can drive if there's an emergency, which I wouldn't do because I've lost the insurance, obviously, so it's a very bad thing to do. But if there was an emergency, I could drive, but I'm not going to, because I haven't got my license anymore.
Yeah, that's a shame.
So, yeah, I can't drive. That sucks. And the other thing is that I feel car sick now.
Oh no.
Yes. So before I was normal and didn't. But now if I go in the car, what I have to do, I take the sort of these patches. Can't remember what it's called. There's some sort of prescription drug, and you sort of peel off the patch and put it behind your ear, and you have to put it behind your ear. You have to leave it there for at least 5 hours, and after 5 hours then you can go out. And I can, like, after 5 hours I can go out in a car and it's just normal. But, like, it makes your eyes go a bit weird because it sort of fluctuates, like does something with your sense of balance to make you more balanced, so you don't get sick in the car, which is fine, which is great. But it also means, like, when you're then out of the car, you have sort of everything slightly wobbly, like you're more balanced, well, you feel more balanced, but you're not really, you're more unbalanced, so you feel a bit like wobbly, but it's fine. It's like a day out, an excuse for a day out or something when you have these travel sick pills.
So are you all right for short journeys? If you were to nip to Tesco's or something with your mum or something, are you okay for that, or no?
It's about 5 minutes, it's all right.
Oh gosh.
10 minutes if you're a careful driver, but I mean anything other than that and I'll just be sick.
Oh no.
So yeah, And if it's about 10 minutes and I need travel sickness patches and I have to know in advance.
I was going to say, you have to plan your days out carefully then. Oh my word.
But
so can you use other forms of transport, like a train? Are you okay if you get on a train?
Yes, I'm fine on a train and a plane and like on most things, but not cars, buses, taxis, etc. So yeah, but it took me quite a while before I figured out that was the problem. So yeah, I was sick quite a few times before I figured out what was going on. So a few inadvertent incidents happened, including on a bus.
Oh no.
Which was like, oh god. It was very sort of embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's just gross. Anyway, enough of that.
But anyway, you've got that sorted now. So that's good. Even if you've got to know 5 hours in advance, you want to go out in the car.
Yeah. Well, these things suck, but you can get around most of them.
Yeah.
But the thing I find the hardest is actually my the sort of language center. Like, I mean, obviously I can't speak perfectly, but I can speak well enough to talk to you and things. So I can speak fine if I have to, or if I don't have to, if I'm just talking in an informal setting. But it is difficult, because of things like a job interview. If I have a job interview, which I have had a few times since my stroke, to try and sort of get back to the workplace, the sort of the questions are fine, this sort of standard questions, and in advance of this, in advance of going to a specific interview, I have questions planned out, and I write all my answers down and things, and I sort of revise, and I sort of burn the knowledge into my brain and stuff, so that I will know what to say if certain questions come up. So everything's there, but then when it's the actual interview, try to stay calm. It's just what I've done anyway since before my stroke. I've always been quite a calm person, but it's very difficult now because I can talk informally, and if I sort of lose some words sometimes, like, no one's gonna bite me. But if you're in a job interview, not only are you supposed to speak more formal and more professional, you have to sort of speak quite fast as well. Like, you can maybe have like 3 seconds of thinking about what you're going to say if they ask you a question, and you have to start the answer, and if you haven't quite worked out what you're going to say, or you have worked it out but you just can't get the words out right, so everything comes out like like this, you have quite a problem, because you're not being very professional, and you're not being and it just a couple of jobs I felt like it was okay, but a couple it was just like, oh god, that was the worst job interview I've ever done. And
I don't think the stress helps you when you're trying to, when you're concentrating really hard on getting your words out. That doesn't help either, does it?
No. And sometimes in my job interviews, I have said that I have a slight bit of aphasia, I have slight problem with my words, and some I don't say that because I want to see, like, am I okay? If I don't say it, like, I don't know. I just say it sometimes, not other times, but you know, neither seems to work. Yeah, like I haven't got a job yet. So yeah, and I know how, like, it used to be easy to get a job, because once I had my BBC job, like, everyone wanted to sort of I don't know, appoint me or something, like when I was like looking for another job after Australia and so on. Like I said, oh yes, come to here, and oh yes, come here. Like everyone wanted me because I'd been at the BBC, so obviously I thought I was intelligent and stuff. But now it's all switched. Like now it's like everyone faces the other way and doesn't want to know and stuff. So that is quite sort of, I don't know, draining. Demoralizing, yeah. Like I know, like they have to like appoint the sort of best person for their you know, the best person for their sort of workplace. Yeah. And I don't apply for jobs where you have to talk very, you know, I don't apply for a receptionist on the phone or anything. I apply for these jobs where, you know, language is sort of, you know, just the occasional informal thing. But still it's demoralizing. Yeah, and you know that like places will just employ people who can do the best job, and like now I probably can't. I'm probably not the person who can do the best job because I can't, you know, figure things out like immediately and, you know, do 5 things at once, and I have a bit of memory problems, and none of these things do I say to the job people. I you know, try to present my best self. But yeah, it's really difficult. But,
frustrating, isn't it? It's you know, but one day the perfect job will pop up for you. It will come along.
That's what my dad says as well. But that, they both, you and my dad both say the same thing. They say like, just keep going and one day something will come up, but I don't really know how, because we've had lockdown, so like thousands and millions of people have got made redundant, so everyone's searching for the jobs, and you know, I'm just bottom of the pile anyway now. Now that I've had these 2 strokes, it sort of put me right down to sort of
No, it hasn't. And you know, things will recover. Well, we have taken a dip because of lockdown and everything, but you know, hopefully we'll get back on our feet and everything, and you'll have skills that other people don't have. And you know, the fact that you've had 2 strokes can make you still better for a job than somebody else. So you know, I mean, don't let that stop you.
I think I think I should apply for jobs in like for charities and stuff, like jobs which are for the people who have suffered these kinds of things that I have, and as a survivor of many medical conditions, like that might help me. You know, I think of like every way around it. So, but yeah, like I'm not looking at the moment because it's just sort of, well, the lockdown has just ended today. I wasn't looking before. Yeah.
Well, that's it. Well, something will come up, and you're right about looking to help others, because you can give them the empathy that they want from somebody that knows what it's like to go through these things, rather than somebody that's just sort of reading the textbook answer kind of thing. You know what it's like, so you can speak from the heart.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm hoping for. But
yeah.
in the meantime, I don't do it now because we've had lockdown and virus everywhere, COVID everywhere. But before that happened, I was volunteering in Oxfam bookshop because I like books a lot, and also chest, heart and stroke shop, because back then they had a shop in my town, so I volunteered there once a week, and I worked in I volunteered for Oxfam a couple of 2 days a week, so I volunteered for like 3 days, and at home I work on my naughty nursery rhymes thing, which is like years and years ago I just wrote down some naughty nursery rhymes that I just made up, just like something to do while I was cooking my tea or something, and I eventually made 36 naughty nursery rhymes. I've just written in the back of my diary and so on.
Oh gosh.
I thought, well, if I'm finding it hard to get a job, maybe I can sort of make something and sell it. So I've made tea towels and frames, and I'm trying to make greetings cards now with a naughty nursery rhyme on the front. So I don't know. These are all ideas. Well, some of them, the greetings cards are just ideas. The frames and tea towels are slightly being sold already, but if you have it's been like 5 months and I've sold like 9. So I sold a few at Christmas, but like not much is being sold online, but
well, that's a start. And with your greetings cards, everybody needs greetings cards for whatever. And I think we all want something different, don't we? We're fed up of going into the shops and seeing the same cards over and over again, or you receive the same card every year and everything, or someone's got all their cards up on the shelf and there's 2 that are the same, and you think, so it's nice to get something different.
I hope.
And a naughty nursery rhyme is different.
Naughty nursery rhymes are not for children, by the way.
Under 18 is not allowed.
There's actually a shop in town that it might, fingers crossed, be one of the places I could go and actually put these things when it's time to go back into society. Because it's made in Sterling or something, it's called.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and it's all about sort of arts and crafts and stuff that people have made in Sterling or roundabout, and if they like them enough, they will put them in the shop and hopefully sell a few. And if you work in the shop as well, then you don't have to pay a commission or something. So that's a way I've thought of, I could earn a bit of keep that way.
Yeah, there's a job for you.
Hopefully, but yeah.
So have your shops just opened up this week then in Scotland? Your non-essential shops?
Well, I presume so. I mean, I don't know, because I haven't even been into like town for like a year.
I've lost track with it all because everywhere seems to have different rules. and then they change the timings of things, and it's just we're all, you know, whether you're in Scotland or England, I think we're all taking the small steps to get back to some kind of normal life again, hopefully, if everybody behaves themselves and it all goes the right way. And you know, we've still got to be careful, but it'd be nice to get back to some kind of normality, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I don't really think we can get back to more normality until everyone's had their 2 vaccinations.
Yes.
And after that, I'll be like, whew.
Yeah, I think that'll be a relief for everybody. And I think, you know, they've got to be careful about where they let people go on holiday, who they're letting into the country, all kinds of things, you know, they've got to consider. But, you know, it's if everyone behaves themselves, that's the big thing. I think if everybody sticks to the rules, but we all know there's always the rebels out there, shall we say? But we'll get there. We'll get there. And I'll get back to Scotland someday when Nicola says I can. So it'll be good. So
obviously I can't go back to the shops. I can't go back to sort of my what was I doing? My volunteering in because I'm shielding as well. So
that's it. You've got to, you know.
So I have to be. I'm sort of the last group that will be let back into society.
It sounds like when a herd of animals being released, doesn't it, to nature again? But you know, as you say, you know, once we've all had our 2 vaccines, everyone will be a lot safer, and everything. It'll be fine. We will get there, and you know, it's how's it been with your mum and dad during lockdown?
Oh, it's been okay. I mean, sort of, you know, this happens. This happens, and we just have to get on with it. We just have to make the best of what we've got, and you know, they go out during the day as well as me. I go out for 2 walks during the day, and so do they, or they go for runs, or they go for cycle rides, and you know, you will just sort of
you get on with it, don't you?
Yeah, so they're fine. They're just a bit like bored.
Hence you all joining in our different strokes quizzes every month.
Yeah, they're quite fun. They're really fun, actually.
Except we've learned, don't give your dad a round with flags in it, because he doesn't like flags. Oh, well, it's been really nice talking to you today. Thank you for sharing your story with everybody. And hopefully you'll get back to volunteering really soon.
Hope so.
You'll be fine. It'll happen quicker than you think.
Okay.
Okay. Bye for now then. Bye.
Right, bye.